Welcome to Vantage Point Video 2022 and the start of what for me is probably the most exciting project I've undertaken. This is the start of Group 1 Opel Kadett Historic Rally Preparation. With the support of eFox engineers, I'm going to prepare this 1980 Opel Kadett D for motorsport. And big thanks to them, and you know, they sent me a couple of gifts to celebrate getting the car into the garage. I've been munching on these Fox's biscuits, and they also made up this really nice Opel Motorsport mug for me. So thanks a million to everyone at eFox Engineers, especially Craig Fox. Thanks for that. Cheers. So that positive reinforcement out of the way, I can actually... This car still has an interior, so I can put the mug down on the glove box. Car's in the garage. It's totally standard spec. You've seen it already. I made some videos where I got this car as an absolute bare shell from Germany, a rolling shell I suppose would be the best way to describe it. And to register it in Ireland I had to quickly assemble it and make it a complete car. And I did that, and then I got it roadworthy, and then I actually used it on a couple of classic runs, because I strongly feel that that's the best way to start a rally project with a complete car. I think solving just getting the car together as well as rally preparation wouldn't be such a good idea. Now, it's not 100% perfect in that the reason why it was in a kind of a rolling shell state was it was an abandoned project, and there had been some professional and very good restoration work done on the car, I could see, but they had done repairs to arches and things like that and put in proper replacement steel, but the filler work on joins and things like that on it was left a little bit rough, so it was like it was just ready for refinishing, and everything is there. And so I'm going to have to do a little bit of tidying up on that, because I'm going to give this car a full respray. And I think with kind of a bit of extra confidence now, having completed the charade project and actually managing to get that car back together, a more complex car I would say than the Kadett, I'm going to strip this shell completely bare. I'm not going to leave things like the steering rack or even the brake pipes, because they're going to be rerouted anyway. I'm going to strip it completely down, which will actually make the approach to painting easier. There's going to be no masking off of bits and pieces, and we'll give it a really thorough respray inside out, and it's staying white. This was the absolute perfect donor car for the project. It was amazing the way it lined up, that the guy that I bought the Mobility Kadett off, Thorsten, hope you're doing well, Happy New Year. He had this in the back of his garage when I collected that, and it was playing on the back of my mind when I left it behind. So we went back about a year later and collected this. I've been lining this project up probably since I learned to drive as a teenager in fields. There's parts literally that I got when I was about 14, like the plastic wheel arches after a car that had rotted away and left them lying on the ground. I have all the body kit and everything to do this in the SR spec, with the nice black plastic arches. This is the culmination of many years of preparation. I've done some research. I've been trying to work out what kind of spec I was going to do this car to. There's actually about 4 different sets of homologation papers just for the 1300 version of these cars, not even taking in the GTE. And I've made my choice, I think, although we'll discuss maybe more of this at another stage. There's basically 2 sets of papers came out in '82 when the Group A regulations were kind of coming in. The Group 1 spec seems to be what suits this for 1980. This is a 1980 shell. This is a saloon back. It's exactly right, the 2-door shell. I'll discuss going through things like the historic technical passport that the FIA have, or Motorsport Ireland's historic rally vehicle identity form. This car would then be eligible for category 3 historics in the D1 class, which is up to 1300cc. I love the idea of building it to this. It's a little bit like building it for a one make series. The regulations are relatively tight. There's no twin cams allowed. The maximum engine size is 1300cc, which this car is. It should be 1297. So I think everything is really coming into focus. Actually, talking about the One Make series, this was a really great discovery I made there before Christmas, and it's a car and car conversions from June 1983, which did a very close, detailed report on the merits of the Astra Challenge, which was for the Vauxhall version of these cars, which is nicely referred to in the homologation papers as identical to the Opel Kadett, apart from the badges. So it was good to actually get that clarified, because the cage I have would have been actually homologated for the Vauxhall Astra, but it looks like everything like that would be okay to use that in the Opel Kadett, as it's the definitions for the 1980 book weren't quite so specific. Anyway, that's a myriad amount of stuff, and I will be checking up on everything I'm doing in relation to that. This magazine had this lovely little article. It was actually a pullout, but I'm going to keep it mint. I'm going to leave it in place. But they were comparing it with the Escort challenge at the time. The Escort was quite a bit higher spec car. It would have been one of the cars like that Malcolm Wilson was competing in. But they actually, although it was quite standard, they were quite impressed with the handling of the Astras. So that was really nice. That's very detailed. There's some good evidence there, which may be used for defining the specification of the car and proving what was used in period. You've seen that I had a video there where I went and found it was actually a Group 2 spec Kadett. Now, it was still 1300, but it rallied in Group 2, and I think this was to allow for more modifications. And although it was running in the higher capacity class, it actually won the Italian Championship in 1981 at the hands of Mickey Martinelli, she was a legendary Italian rally driver. And I actually went to see this car for real during my honeymoon. We broke away from our time in Venice, which Venice was great because it gave a car-free period to the trip. But there was one indulgence, and that was a run down from Venice towards Verona to have a look at the Mickey Martinelli car. That was really great. That's an inspiration to see one of these cars built to that spec. This one would probably be slightly more modest in power, but I'm quite happy with that because it means a little bit less power, gives a little bit more reliability, and really I want to go on big long adventures with this car, and I'm not worried about absolute out and out power. So really it's time to stop talking and get on with this project. There's been enough thinking, enough planning. We're going to start with a bit of action now. Obviously that planning is important because I don't want to go down a blind alley, but I'm certain enough now I can get on anyway with stripping down the car, and so a lot of more complicated stuff will come in the reassembly time. So let's get this going.